When I first came to study of Crawford Lake, I think it was 1968. We were referred to the lake as a possible meromictic lake by a professor at the University of Toronto. And we began to study the sediments for annual layers, a record of annual layers of deposition.
Iroquoians had moved into the Crawford Lake area, and they had caused the beach crash. Beach crash occurs in almost every lake. You can ask Jock whether he's ever found a lake where there is no beach crash around the 1300, okay? So he said, we found corn pollen, or his student had found corn pollen in the lake, and we were going to go out to the lake and find it. Would anyone like to volunteer? So I volunteered to go out to the lake and look around the lake to see if we could find the Crawford Lake site, which we didn't, by the way.
There was nothing right here, nothing at all. Just this one big rock sitting out and all by itself. And Bill looked into the crevices in the rock, and there was Iroquoian artifacts in there. So right away we had a site. There it was.
I've got this diagram that shows peaks of corn pollen. And sometimes I only come up with one or two. And he says, what I think it is when people live near the lake, the corn pollen is blowing into the lake. And all the other small peaks are when people are living 3 and 4 kilometers away from the lake.
Fossils were so superbly preserved in the mud. We could go back approximately 1,000 years with this layer counting.
We found enough material to know that there was a village in the area, and after that we found houses. We found the artifacts, and once you find some artifacts, you know you're in the right place.
We came up with fossil rotifers in the lake, and a lot of people say fossil rotifers don't exist in lake sediments. And in Crawford Lake you have around a 1,500-year record of all the different rotifers that have lived in Crawford Lake. Things that would never be preserved at all, and there they are. So you can do population studies of Caratella and Quadrata.
A meromictic lake is a lake that only circulates partly. So the upper water circulates in the spring, and the bottom water remains stagnant. Okay, the bottom water would be oxygen-free and perennially cold, whereas the upper water oxygen content would vary and the temperature would vary.
When we would shovel shine, that is, take all the topsoil off with a shovel after it had been a lot of it had been taken off with a bulldozer or such, and then we shovel shined, and we would find the post molds that made the house, the walls of the house.
The value of continuing the study of Crawford Lake lies in the continued accumulation of sediment, which records things like pollution from the atmosphere, like lead, and also the record of climate change.
Jock and I and other paleontologists have just scraped the surface of the story in Crawford Lake. There's so much that could still be done. There'll always be something to research on Crawford Lake, always.